huge updates have just been revealed for the upcoming changes to Rise of Kingdoms in both December and January, and you're not going to want to miss these. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Shappy Gaming, and today we are going to be breaking down some of the crazy news that has just been shared in Rise of Kingdoms. And this includes the new Zenith Skin, the changes to KVK, the new civilization that's just been released, the new commanders that could potentially be in this civilization, and some major changes to ranged combat in Rise of Kingdoms. And before we get into that, if you guys haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner, and hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. If you're enjoying, of course. If you're not, well, welcome. Hopefully I can convince you. So first things first, let's talk about the main thing that I'm excited about as it pertains to KVK updates. And that is going to be the KVK Resource Return. So I actually suggested this to Lilith probably a couple weeks ago. I was in Tides of War and I was like, hey, it would be really cool if at the end of Tides of War, you guys took all of the resources that we accumulated and just distribute them to everyone in the Alliance. And you were like, hey, well, we're actually working on something kind of similar. And this is what they came up with. So this is a resource reimbursement. And it looks like the percentage returned is going to be about 10%. But I could see Lilith turning around and being like, hey, if you want to spend an extra 15, 20 bucks, we can actually up that to 15 or 20%. They have done that before. If you look at KVK 2, you can actually get troop return that way as well. So it could be possible. I think 10% is pretty low. The other thing I'm noticing here is, honestly, this seems like it's capped, right? Looking at these numbers, 150, 150, 80, it seems like it's capped. I hope it's not. That would be really crummy if they did cap it, especially if they capped it at this, because that's kind of a low amount of resources. But I guess we'll have to see. This also means that you're spending, I think it's 5 billion resources to try and heal, which again, feels like that 10% is not going to be making much of an impact, but it's something. It's more resources than we're getting today, so beggars can't be choosers, right? I'm very excited about this. I think this is going to be helpful. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you pumped about this, or are you waiting for them to increase it? Or do you think there's going to be a cash grab here that we're just not aware of? On to this other thing that's coming. 2 new epic engineering commanders are getting released. That's going to be Narses and Catherine de Medici. So Catherine de Medici is really cool. The Medicis were an Italian family that had so much power. Really excited for her to be in the game. And then Narses, I actually don't know all that much about. You guys let me know in the comment section if he's cool. But what I'm most excited about here is that we're getting engineering commanders that are epic. What does this actually mean? If you are just starting in Rise of Kingdoms, you can start with a ranged march. And honestly, if you're going to be low spender or free to play, this is super OP. Because a lot of the time, the resource costs and all of that of getting combat marches is really tough. But if you can pick up this ranged epic march and start working on your equipment for ranged combat in the early game, then you're going to be able to pick up Gonzalo and Babur and the other ranged marches way sooner. This is a really big deal for ranged combat in Rise of Kingdoms, and it makes it so it's viable even in the early game, which we don't have today. This also is fun because it means that those people that aren't ready to commit to a full legendary ranged march can still use it with some of these folks and test them out and maybe pair them with one of the legendary ranged commanders. And so you could have, you know, Gonzalo with Catherine de Medici, or Gonzalo with Narses, or Margaret with Narses. And that way you have like a 5-5-5-1 legendary commander and then maybe an epic. I think this is a lot of fun. I think this adds some interesting dynamics to the games. And I'm also excited to use some of my gold keys because I think it was Oppo said he has 7,000 gold keys saved up. So I'm kind of excited about this. I think this is a good one. Now, you may also be wondering, what do these commanders actually look like? I have some insight for you. So I grabbed this off of Facebook. It's not mine. But what this tells us is that Narses is going to be engineering, versatility, and defense, whereas Catherine is going to be engineering, versatility, and skill damage. So I expect that you're probably going to want to be going for Catherine. I don't know how great the defense tree is going to be for a ranged march, but we'll have to see. But I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to be a nice addition to the game. I don't think it's going to be like game changing, but I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a nice addition to the game. Again, if you guys aren't using ranged and you want to try them out, let me know what you think in the comment section below about this update. On to the next one. New Zenith of Power City theme. This is a big deal. First off, this is coming December 23rd. So they've just announced this. It'll probably be at reset. And this is the dataless dirigible. And I don't know if I spelled that properly, but that's what this is. And this gives you cavalry attack of 20%. 20% is crazy. Now it's attack, so it's not that big of a deal. But I'm pretty sure this is the highest buff that we've ever seen in a Zenith skin. And that's absolutely nuts. What's my read on this? For most players, you probably don't need it, right? If you're just a normal field player, you're running 2 cavalry marches, you probably don't need this. I mean, Twilight Falls and this might be close. I think this will probably be better than Twilight Falls for your cavalry marches. And they've taken away the negatives from these, so this is kind of a big deal. But again, I would personally much rather have health or defense rather than cavalry attack. But beggars can't be choosers. This is super OP. If you're a cavalry rally leader garrison, you need to get this. Like, it's just, there's no question. I mean, 20% is like perfect armaments and a whole nother piece of equipment. You just have to get it. I'm really excited about it. I also think this skin looks kind of dope. Like, I just did a short talking about how all the different KVK skins look. I think this one looks pretty cool. It's very steampunk. It reminds me of one of those movies that came out with Cara Delevingne. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I think, let me know in the comment section below. This reminds me of that. Also, I have a video for you. I don't know if anyone's shown this off yet, but here's it actually in action. So you can see it like kind of takes off and flies away and that propeller moves. I think it looks pretty cool. Here's it in the night. I think this is kind of a cool skin. And it looks like it stays active, which is nice. I know some of the other skins don't really have as much movement to them. This could get annoying, but I'm a fan. This will probably be like a number 2, number 3 skin for me. It's got a lot going on, but if you're into it, they've really been investing in the cosmetics there. So that's that. Now let's take a look at some of the other changes that are coming up. The next one is a huge one. The Mayan civilization, the first civilization to grant a range buff, will be available January of 2025. This is huge. This is the first reveal of a new civilization in a while. We had the Vikings. The Vikings had a huge launch, but I think the Mayans are also getting a huge launch. Now, this is also huge for a couple other reasons. They're getting granted a ranged buff. So you're getting granted a ranged buff, but again, the 2 epic commanders that we just saw, you notice neither of them are Mayan. So you're getting probably another epic ranged commander, right? Because Narses, if you look at the background, that's a Byzantium background. And you look at Catherine de Medici, we know she's Italian. I don't know what background that is, but that doesn't go with Mayans. So we're going to be getting some new Mayan commanders coming to the game as well that will also be ranged. So I did a stream the other day asking about, is range the future? And we talked about some of the new commanders coming out, and they're not all that special. But if you're getting a ranged city buff, you're getting 3 total epic ranged commanders, and you're getting new legendary commanders to coincide with this. Range is getting a lot of investment. I'm excited to see how this shakes out, but I'm a little bit worried. I don't know that range has a place in your top 5 marches, but with the Mayan civilization, Mr. Siege is going to be a very happy camper. So here are the 2 commanders that are coming. I presume one of them is going to be legendary and the other is not. Now, I have my suspicions as to the commander on the left. I think that she's Lady Six Sky. Just on a quick Google search, she's also in Civ, so that makes sense to me. I did some little Googling of some of these other commanders, and there is a lot of potential for the male commander that you see on the right there. I'm less certain about him, but I have a couple ideas as to who he could be. So here's my guess. I did a little bit of research. I actually finished this whole video, and then I was like, no, you know what? I am not accepting this. So I did some research, and this is who I think he might be. So if we take a look at Civ as an example here, this guy looks pretty similar. It's Yakskin Konchak. I don't know if I butchered that pronunciation, but Here's what gives me pause. This guy's pretty wide, and he has the same hairdo that we see with the feathers and that. I think it could be him. And Civ is usually a good guide for how Rise of Kingdoms is going to pick their commanders, just because there hasn't been a whole lot of renditions, especially of Mayan figures. I was Googling a bunch of different names. I couldn't find any of them, except for like Pakal and this guy. Now, I don't know if they're the same person, but there's also the potential for it to be something called Yuknum the Great. I think they are the same, just different pronunciations. But this is a rendition of that same person from, I think it's a film or something like that. But if you go back and you compare, that headdress is very representative of Yuknum the Great. So that's who I'm saying I think the guy is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It really could be anyone, but I certainly don't think that it is going to be Pakal. I think Pakal Prime is out of the question. This also will help you out because there will be a poll on the official Rise of Kingdoms Facebook page where I think if you enter in who you think it is, they'll give you some sort of reward if you use your ID. So if we can all figure out who this is, let me know. I don't think it's Pakal Prime. I think that ship has sailed. But that's definitely Lady Six guy right there because the Mayans only have like one main like female figure. So that's who it is. I'm also guessing she's going to be the epic and he's going to be the legendary, but we'll find out. Now, that is all of the crazy new updates coming to Rise of Kingdoms. I'm super excited about it. There's some things I didn't mention. There's a big holiday event that's going to be coming up for Christmas. I will be sure to cover that in a separate video when that event drops. I'm actually really excited about that. And as you guys know, there's all the commander swapping and all of that. That's also going to be in the January release. I expect it to coincide with the Mayan rollout. If you haven't seen that video, that'll be linked right above me, so you can actually go check that out. And if you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video. And as always, if you haven't already, do hit the subscribe button right over there. What are you waiting for? Just join the Shappy Squad. We welcome you. Thank you all. Shappy out.